always appreciate coming to Madison Square Garden. And before the game, my big keys were toughness, rebounding, and fast break. And I thought we did a decent job on the toughness part. We did a great job on the rebounding. Rebounding them by 10 is that's an important stat. The other one was turnovers, and I thought we did a miserable job turning the ball over. My point guards did not do a very good job. I thought we had some great shots, as they might have too, but Hauser and Hall had wide open threes, and we just didn't make them today. But we're up 40-39, and one of my best free throw shooters, in fact, I think he's my best, Hauser, missed the front end with 1-and-1, and then one of my poor free throw shooters missed the front end with 1-and-1, and AJ had 2 turnovers on those lobs, and then it went to 46-41, and we're playing catch up. So give Rutgers credit. Steve, great coach. He really is. He's done a nice job with those team. And, I don't know who hurt us the most, but I thought the second half they got downhill, got to the free throw line, and we didn't cover that with a fishnet. So some of that's our fault. Again, we do a decent job on Spencer. I guess I look at it, Simpson can hit that big 3 at a critical time, but they shoot 37 and 18, and we all rebounded by 10. You put yourself in position to win if you do anything on offense, and I didn't think we did a very good job against the zone. I did not think the turnovers, AJ had 5 of them, it's ridiculous. And we did enough things to win a big game on the road. We just didn't finish it.
Questions?
Coach, your comments on Tyson Walker's performance. I thought he played very well.
Yeah.
Watching him since high school at Christ.
Yeah, he's gotten so much better this year. I think every year, and he's been here. He has been a treat to coach. Today we needed to get him the ball more, but they knew it, and they put a 6'7" guy on him. And those 2 guys, McConnell, McKay, are really good defensively. But Tyson Walker, we needed to get him more shots. Easier said than done. But I thought defensively, offensively, just his whole demeanor in the game, he was one guy that I thought was with it the whole time. And so, if I was giving out a hockey star, he'd get 1, 2, and 3, he'd get all of them.
Right here.
Rutgers obviously down the stretch, started to attack inside the hit line a little more. Worried about that, but also maybe did, particularly in that attacking and getting some wins.
Yeah, I thought we did a very poor job, Marty. Some of it was my fault. We had Malik on a guy out there. He's my best, strongest defender, and it just felt like AJ was tired, and we normally put Malik on a guy he can guard him, but give those guys credit. They got downhill and got to the hole. I mean, it's not bad enough they didn't get fouled. They got to the hole and got layups, and that's not very good D. And yet, with all that being said, they still shoot 37%. So it's hard for me to complain too much about my defense till that part of it. There's a lot of reasons to complain about the offense and the turnovers, and I'll do that for the next couple of days.
Even though you feel like a lot of those may have been self-inflicted, what do you appreciate about the way Rutgers plays defense?
Well, I think since Steve came into the league, and I talked to him the first week that he got in, I had heard good things about him, and he's just got a funky personality. He's like the guy next door, and yet he's got some choose the right words here. He's got some orneriness to him, and I think it's a great combination of both. He gets after it more than people think, and I think he recruits those kinds of kids. It reminds me of the Flintstones that I had. A bunch of guys that were, just tough, get after it, don't really care about anything but winning. That's the way it seems. And I told McKay and McConnell after the game, they've been great for the Big Ten. They really have. I actually hope I never never see them again, but other than that, I really appreciate how they play, how tough they are, and just the demeanor about them. You know, winning seems to be firsthand, and that's why I think Steve's done a nice job with this team. Take nothing away now. I think people, especially in Michigan State, will think, well, you lost to Rutgers. Rutgers, in my humble opinion, is the second best team in this league, you know, right now. They're not as good as Purdue, and they beat Purdue. So you figure that out. But I do think that they're a very good team. You know, they're not shooting it quite as well from the perimeter as maybe he needs to really take another step, to be honest with you. But other than that, you know, defense travels. And hell, I hope he's mad, because for us to out-rebound them by 10, you know, they had 18 offensive boards against us at our place. So you can imagine what our 4-day prep was, you know. And we did a good job on that, but Malik did a great job on that. That's something we haven't had now for, you know, 2.5 months, is a guy getting rebounds like that, because he's been out. But I think I'm a big fan of Rutgers, I really am, and of Steve's.
AJ, the first half of the season, has done such a better job taking care of the ball and running the offense. How do you kind of get him back to work?
Yeah, but he gets tired and he goes south. I mean, I told him that. I told him that, and I think you're asking the same question, you know. I mean, he's a good player, and yet these stretches where he goes a little bit. I mean, we tried sub him better. Our freshman wasn't really ready for that challenge, and you know, we're hoping to play him 29 minutes. We played 32 and a half, and that extra time is really detrimental to AJ, if you ask me. I mean, we got to get him back down to maybe 25, 26 minutes somehow. Tyson, he can go all day long. I mean, he's like the ever-ready bunny, but AJ struggles with that, and he has these times when all of a sudden he doesn't focus, and they hit a big play on one of those kind of plays, and it was when it was a 1-point game. And I talked about it in the pregame meal. I talked about it. He's got to get better at that.
All right, we got here then.
When did you start to realize that about AJ in terms of how important certain minute restrictions were on him, and where when he gets a little bit over that, it changes for him?
3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. You know, I said I got 1 or 2 guys that need to get in better shape, need to get their bodies in the right place. They made progress, but they haven't done what it takes to do that. And so, never changed. I tell them that all the time. And he's improved some. It's not enough yet.
You mentioned the Rutgers guys about winning. Seems like late in games, when the game is on the line, you talk about having a chance to win a game. It feels like recently there's been a handful of games that have not played out exactly the same, but there's a chance to win the game late and the plays aren't
Yeah.
being made. How much of a concern is that?
Well, it's a concern, and I think one of it is your quarterback. You know, he's got to be dynamic then. But number 2 is, I think it'll help if we get Malik back. You know, like I told you, Malik's back physically now, but his skills. I mean, he rebounded because that doesn't take a skill, but in shooting, he had 2 wide open threes. He had those baseline shots that he normally makes. So that was a struggle for him. But you know, I think we're still a work in progress. We've been all year. But we gotta take care of the turnovers now. Those have creeped up too. We've had 14 and 2 of the last 3 games, and you know, you look at some of those games, whether it be at Indiana, you know, you're up 5. At Illinois, you're up 9, and those teams, especially at the time without Malik, are probably better than us. But yeah, there is a common denominator there that we gotta fix. That's a fair statement.
Tom, you alluded to this a little at the beginning, but what's it like for the league and for these 2 programs to play on this stage?
Yeah, I think it's an awesome idea. You know, you know, I'm not sure. It's really a coin flip for Rutgers. You know, they've got one of the toughest places to play in, but we've done that a little bit out of league with Detroit. You know, I don't know how far is this from Rutgers.
30 miles.
Oh, hell.
Well, like an hour with traffic.
No, that's about 2 miles is an hour. But I mean, that's close. I mean, we're 90 miles, and yet we played some big non-conference games down there. We play Oakland down there. It's great for our fans. It's a little bit good for recruiting. I think this will help recruiting, but let's face it, there's not a pro guy. You ask him where his favorite place to play is. It's Madison Square Garden. And I told the guys that, you know, you get a chance to play in the mecca of basketball, and you kind of hope. These guys play in so many different venues and so many different things in AAU. I don't think they look at it the same as maybe I did. Maybe I was more excited than them. Playing up at Northern Michigan on the banks of Lake Superior wasn't the same as Madison Square Garden, but I do think it's good for the league. I do think it's good for Rutgers. If they would have lost, then maybe we would have said, go at home, we would have got them. But I thought they had a hell of a crowd there, and we had a few people ourselves. But I think for Big Ten basketball, it gets you in the major media city in the world, you know. So I think it's good. I think I'd do it if I was him. And then you lose a game, and then you want to slit your wrists and never do it again. But I really do believe it's advantageous for Rutgers, for the Big Ten.